Everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's me again, Tracy with JDL Threads, and in today's video we are going to be doing an embroidered applique Easter shirt from some scrap fabric that I have from last Easter when I made my Easter banner for my door. Alright, so the materials we're going to need is some cutaway stabilizer. We're going to need some Heat and Bond Ultra. This is the little slip for it, which is this, which has a soft side or a paper side and a more rough side. I'm going to be using this Easter fabric that I used for my backing for my door banner last year. We're going to be needing a t-shirt. We're going to be needing a brayer, a fabric mat, some parchment paper. We're going to be needing our design wherever you get your design from, and then we're also going to be needing some tweezers, which I have them over there, that we're going to just be lifting our fabric up off of our mat. I'm at a loss for words right now. We're going to be lifting them up off of our cutting mat. There we go, our cutting mat. All right, so let's go on ahead and head over to my computer. But before we do that, if this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome. And if you subscribe to my channel, thank you so much and welcome back, everybody. So let's go ahead and get started with the designs that I picked out from Creative Fabrica that I'm going to be doing my applique design on today. I'm going to be using this design here, which is the bunny design. This one here. And I'm also going to be combining this one, which is the Hoppy Easter with the ears and the feet. But I'm only just going to use the words Hoppy and Easter. I didn't put all that extra stuff in. So once you get your design from Creative Fabrica, you're going to download. Okay, so once you get your design to come in, it's going to come in a zip file like this file here. You're going to click on it and you're going to hit extract, and that'll open up all your files in your folder. Okay, I've already done that. So mine is in the kids bundle file, which is where my bunnies are. And I just went ahead and put also the Hoppy Easter into that same folder so that I can easily find where my design is. We're going to be using the software today, Chroma Lux, which is the software used by RICOMA embroidery machines. You can use any software. Chroma Lux is just what I happen to have. Okay, so what we would do is we're going to have to drag these in and drop them into our Chroma Lux software. So all I would do is I would grab the bunnies. I would go down here. Let me just make my computer a little bit smaller so you guys can see down there. I would grab my bunnies and I would drop them into my Chroma Lux file, which is down here, like so. And then I would also go back to my file folder and I would drop in my Hoppy Easter design, which is the Hotmail design. I would also drag that down to Chroma and just drop that in. Now you can merge them in together so that they both get on the same application. But then I'd have to go looking for it to find out where it is. So it's just easier for me to just bring them both in separate. And then I'm going to hit all items. I'm going to copy and I'm going to go back to my Hoppy Easter design and I'm just going to paste it over there like that. And then I'm going to move it to the side because I'm not going to use all of this. I'm only going to use the words Hoppy and Easter. So what we would need to do now, since it's a basically a SVG file. Everything is grouped together. So I'm going to go down here and I am going to just go ahead and break it apart so that I can delete the parts of the design that I don't want, like that. I don't want that heart. I'm going to delete everything. Delete, delete. The only thing I want is Happy Easter. So I'm going to highlight everything that I don't want, and I'm going to just delete that off and just keep the words Happy and Easter. Okay. So then I'm going to highlight all of the word happy, and I'm going to bring it over here. And I'm just going to set it up the way that I want it to stitch out. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. So that it can fit in right in between in there, between the bunny ears. And then I'm going to make Easter also a little bit bigger. All right, and today we're also going to be cutting out our fabric on our SISER ROMEO, also known to me as my SISER ROME. We're going to be cutting out our bunnies only because that's the part that's going to be applique, and then we're going to go ahead and stitch out Happy and Easter in a field design. So I'm going to go on over to the file that I already have set up, which already has the correct dimensions that I have. Okay, so that would be this file, which is my RDE file, which is my working file. And as you can see, I've already got my applique set up for my bunnies and my stitch file for my Happy and my Easter. Then you have to get right on that X to move it over. There we go. Because if you don't, as you can see, it does weird things. Right, so I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger, and I'm going to go back over to the bunnies that I have highlighted. Now, since it's an embroidery file, again, we can't make an embroidery file a cut file. So we're going to just go down here to convert, and we're going to click artwork. So again, we hit the right side of our mouse. We went to convert and we hit artwork. Then we're going to go over here to the top portion of our Chroma Luxe screen. We're going to hit this last box on the right that has an arrow and a box in it. And that'll give us our correct dimensions for our applique file, which is 7.40 by 541. Okay, we have that highlighted. We're going to go to File. We're going to go to Export Artwork. And then we're going to save it, whatever you guys want to save it as. And make sure you pay attention up here to your folder where it's going. My particular one is in Images, so that's where mine's going to be saved. And then I also just like to put the size of the file so that I can know what the dimensions are when I go to get to my cut file. So then all we're going to do is I saved it as an SVG. We're going to push Save. And then we can go back to my images folder. And there is my bunny file that I saved with my dimensions 7.42 by 5.43. All we would then do is we would click on that to highlight it. We're going to drag that into our cutting file so that we can get our fabric cut out. I've already done that as well, so I'm going to put that back. For 7.40 width by 5.41 height. And every time I go to cut out my fabric and I try to get the satin stitch around that design, it never catches all the way on the side of my fabric. So what I like to do is I like to make it 2 inches bigger on the width and the height. So instead of 740, it's going to be 742. And instead of the height being 541, it's going to be 543, which is, as you can see, once I brought it in down here into my width and height on my Leonardo Design Studio, it has a width of 7.422 and a height of 5.433, which I have added 2 inches again to both the width and the height. And we're just going to go ahead and get that right on the center of the mat. Now I am going to just be using one fabric to cut out all of my bunnies. So if I'm using one fabric for all the bunnies, all I would do is make sure, that I'm going to hit Send Design. I'm going to leave everything that it is, all artwork that fits on the page, keep in the positions of each layer, and I'm going to hit Send. That way, when I go to cut my file, all of my bunnies are going to cut out on that one fabric. All 3 bunnies. Then I just like to move it up just a little bit so that it's not all the way down here at the bottom of my cut mat. And then I want to make sure that nothing's going to get cut off. So I just move my file up until it's all on the white portion of the mat so that I can get all the bunnies. Now we're going to go back. So now let's say you want to cut out your bunnies in 3 different color fabrics. Then what you would need to do is you would need to just highlight all of your bunnies. You're going to right click. Then if you hit Send Design, leave all artwork that fits the mat and keep in the positions of each layer. Then you would get a cut file for each separate colors of your fabric. So this one would cut out, and let's say you had a blue fabric. This one would cut out in a green fabric, and this one would cut out in a red fabric. And again, you just would have to make sure that you move them all in the right spot, separate from each other where they're going to be cut, so that you don't accidentally cut out on top of your other fabric. Or you can just cut them out one by one and just move your fabric on your mat to where you want to get it cut out at. Okay, but I'm not going to be doing 3 separate colors. Again, I'm only going to be doing one fabric color for all of my bunnies. So I'm going to hit my undo button. That's going to take me back to all of the bunnies being the same color. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Send Design, Send. I'm going to move my design up a little bit so that it's all on the white part of the mat and nothing is on this gray portion of the mat. Then we're going to get our fabric ready so that we can get it cut out. Now, this is the correct side of your fabric, the one with the most color, and this is the incorrect side of your fabric, the one with the less amount of color. I already have my heat and bond on my fabric. All you would do is you would take your heat and bond and you would put your rough side of your heat and bond down onto your fabric, like so. And then you would iron it with no steam. Rough side down, paper side up. Then all you would do is you would let that cool off. And you're going to peel off your paper side. Some people like to leave the paper on. I don't like to leave the paper on, so I just peel mine off like that. And then you'll see that the shiny part of the heat and bond is on your fabric. Okay? Then the next step, what we need to do is we need to get our fabric ready on our cutting mat. So I'm over here to the cutting mat, and remember that the SISER machine cuts from the bottom of the mat down here to the top, versus where the Cricut machine and I think all the other machines cut from top to bottom. So we're going to put our fabric all the way at the bottom of our mat. And we're going to line it up all the way at the bottom of the box. And I sometimes overlap mine a little bit just to make sure that I get it all the way in. We're going to do that on the bottom and also on the side of the mat here. Line it up on both sides. Like so. Okay, everybody, I'm sorry about that. My daughter called me. So what we're going to do is we're going to just brayer our fabric down on our cutting mat. Okay. Then we're going to lift up our little lever. Or is it lift down? Okay, it's backwards on this SISER cutting machine. So we're going to lift down our lever on the cutting machine so we can slide our mat in. And we're going to line our mat up all the way here to the side of this arrow. That's what I like to do. Then we're going to go in the back of our machine and we're going to pull up on our level to lock our little rollers down. Okay? Then we're going to come over here to our cut panel on our ROMEO. And my cut settings, I have it on a cut speed of 10 and a force of 43 because it cut out real good on the force of 43. I'm going to just push my arrow on my panel so that I can bring my needle down to the bottom of my fabric like that. Okay? Right in that bottom corner. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit start on my computer and we're going to go ahead to getting our fabric cut out. All right, I'm going to hit send to cutter and that's going to start cutting out my fabric. I'm going to press OK and you should see it start up there. There we go. And I tell you guys, this thing cuts so fast. I love it. It's already done. So we're going to push down on our lever. We're going to take our fabric out. We're going to take our mat out. And we are just going to lift up our fabric off of our mat. Now, so now I'm just going to lift my fabric off of my mat and look how nice that cut that fabric out, you guys. Just so beautiful. And there you have it. Three bunnies cut out. Okay, everybody, so I was able to find my tweezers. I had put them underneath the t-shirt. So I'm just going to use them to go right here up under my fabric and to just lift that off. Like so. And then what you'll see is also that little circle cut out as well for where the tail is going to be on the bunnies. Look how nice that cut out. So much better than having to go around and cut it out with them applique scissors. So much better. All right, so then the next thing on our list is we have to just go ahead and get ready to set up our shirt so that we can go ahead and get this applique stitched out. What I'm going to be using today is my, oh, I forgot to mention that in my intro. I did forget. My bad. We're also going to be needing the wonderful Mighty Hoop. And in this video, I'm going to be using the 10 by 10 Mighty Hoop, okay? So I've taken the Mighty Hoop apart. I'm just going to lay the Mighty Hoop down with the word side down on the bottom part of the hoop. I'm going to take my girl's shirt. Which I've already put the crease in her shirt earlier because I didn't use my heat press this time. I just used the regular iron to get that crease in there. As you can see right there. Got that nice crease in there. We're just going to go ahead and I'm going to put the shirt in side of her shirt, or excuse me, the hoop inside of her shirt. Trying to center it up in between the dots. With the bottom portion of the hoop. Then I'm going to take my cutaway stabilizer and I'm going to stick it right underneath the shirt on top of that bottom part of my Mighty Hoop. Like so. Then what I like to try to do is I like to try to get the bottom part of her collar right at the bottom of that bottom Mighty Hoop. Then that way I can kind of get it centered on the embroidery machine where I like to have it. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down the top portion of my Mighty Hoop and see if I got this straight enough so that I can go ahead and get it stitched out. Here we go. And do you guys see? Here's my dot for the top portion of my mighty hoop, and my center line is right over here. So that's off a little bit. So I'm going to take that loose, and I'm going to try to push it over just a little bit. I could probably use my Hoop Master Station, but just the smaller shirts would be so tight to get on there, and I don't really want to stretch the shirt out too much. So we're just going to try it one more time here. And look at that. That's pretty good. So we got the center of my hoop here, and we got the line crease of my shirt lining up really good. All right, everybody, so I'm over at the embroidery machine. I'm going to go ahead and just slide my embroidery hoop in, making sure that I get the underside of my collar underneath the bar so that I don't stitch my shirt together. I'm just going to make sure by filling down there to make sure that I have it in. My design is already in the panel, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put this back on needle 1. I'm going to do escape. I'm going to go ahead and unlock it, remove from the embroidery status. I'm going to push OK. And as you can see, now my embroidery design is outside of my embroidery space. So I'm just going to use my arrows to push it back in so that my hoop can turn green. When it's red, you're outside the stitching area. So I'm just going to move it back over. Going to push the up button, which is the down button, to get it back in the middle. Okay, so now I've got that center where I want it. Also, I took my embroidery machine off of automatic, and I put it on automatic manual. I've got my colors all set in the machine. Just going to go ahead and push OK for that. That way on automatic manual, it'll stop after every stitch out so that I can go ahead and lay my fabric down. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go ahead and do a trace. And that's just a little bit low for me, so I'm going to push it up just a little. And we're going to do another trace. And that looks good. So with that set, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit start, everybody. And remember, it's on automatic manual. So after it does the trace stitch, then it's going to do the tag down stitch, and then it's going to do satin stitch. It's going to stop in between every stitch so that I can go the placement stitch. That's what it's called. It's going to do the placement stitch, and then it's going to stop. I'm going to take the embroidery machine and I'm going to hoop it out. Then it's going to do the tag down stitch, and then it's going to do the satin stitch. So here we go. now our satin stitch. One bunny down, and now we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same process for the other two bunnies. Here we go. it. Isn't it just so lovely? Now, as you can see on this yellow bunny here, I started off on pink thread, but I think my needle was just yuckied up with that temporary spray because I am at the bottom of the bottle, and it kept just getting real clumpy underneath that needle, and so the thread kept breaking on that one. So that's why I switched from the pink to the yellow thread, and it did seem to do better on that. And then once I went to the fill on the lettering, everything was fine, because I did do this design a couple of times before I did put it on video, but I think overall it came out really great. So there is my Happy Easter embroidery applique shirt, you guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. And again, this is Tracy with JDL Threads. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you guys in the next video.